Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to a quick little video. So, this is my 10 things I'd like to see added to Supreme Ruler 2030 as of today. So it's November. The game's been out for a little while now. I had to take a little bit of a couple weeks off because of my RAM and causing problems. But I am back now. I don't think I actually missed any weeks, so that's a good thing. But there's 10 things I want to see in the game. And we're just going to go through. They're in no particular order. I want to get this also out of the way. I like the game as it is. So, I mean, these are just things that I would like added. If they weren't added into the game, well, eh. If they are added into the game, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, fingers crossed, any of these, I would be a happier boy. So the first thing I'd like to see is the ability to give my colony or a puppet one of my colonies or puppets. Right now you have the option, but it doesn't work. So right now if you go to diplomatic offer, I'm talking to Belgium, and I'm like, hey, I want to give you the Netherlands, and I want to give you Luxembourg, and I don't want anything in return. I can hit the button, give it a couple seconds, they've accepted it, but they don't actually get it. Now, one of the ways you can do this is by, for example, going to Belgium, going to diplomatic offer, and instead of offering them a colony, I can offer them a battle zone. So, for example, if I bring up the battle zone overlay, I could give them whatever is in this region. Now, here comes the problem. For example, this battle zone right here, where all the water is, if we come into battle zone control, is Bremen, which is all the way up here. All the water is Bremen. The land is Brussels. So theoretically, I could give Belgium, Brussels, which one's this one? Belgium, Brussels, and Luxembourg. So we'll just do that real quick. We'll say, hey, we'll give you interesting. It's actually not showing. I want to give you Essen. No, I don't want to give you Essen. I want to give you Brussels. And I want to give you Luxembourg. Oh, that's why. Okay. Yeah, so you have to have them annexed. If you don't have them annexed, you can't give them the regions. If you want to give them the regions and just kind of have like Benelux as your puppet, can't do that. I would love to just be able to right click and have a button here that says transfer to puppet. You go to transfer to and you just say the nation, and that would just, so you just right click, transfer to, and then it would say, hey, what do you want to transfer to me? And I'll be like, hey, I want you to transfer the Netherlands to you, and I want to transfer Luxembourg to you. There you go. And then the map updates at midnight, and suddenly Brussels, or Belgium here, now controls the Netherlands and Luxembourg, but it's all Belgium, basically. I would love to be able to do that. Like if I took Austria, be able to tell Austria, hey, be one with the other mountain Germans. Here, take Switzerland and Liechtenstein. To the Poles, hey, take Kaliningrad. Or, you know, to the Czech Republic, hey, take Slovakia. Like, and make, you know, I think they're called, I can't remember what the Germans in World War II called them, like Reichsprotectorates or something like that. But be able to like create like larger colonies, just so you can kind of amalgamate them into one another, just so it's a lot easier to maintain and manage and stuff like that. What I'd also like to see, as another option, is more role-playing options. So events around what the player does, like little triggers. So for example, moving troops up against the Austrian border here, for example, should trigger Austria, or the AI Austria, to send me a message getting, hey, like, why do you have troops on my border? And they should be able to respond back with, or I should be able to respond back with a couple different options under the little messages that pop up. You know, how you have the condemn and all that stuff option when people declare war on each other. We should have the ability to click a couple options. And those options, obviously, impact, let's right click here, you know, the diplomatic rating between each country, the civilian rating between each country, and the casus belli between each country. Basically, the overall relations between each country should be affected by these interactions. So if I move troops, I should have the ability to be like, hey, sorry, my bad. I'm just deploying troops because I have the military base there. They're going to be gone in X days. If the units within those X amount of days are not gone, the AI would be like, okay, in the background, he has not moved troops. I'm going to deploy an equal amount of troops, or maybe a little bit more amount of troops, to that same border region. There's that. Then have obviously the neutral ones like, hey, sorry, my bad, I hit the wrong button. Or even good ones where it's like, hey, bud, don't worry about it. You know, I'm going to be deploying these guys somewhere else in a few minutes. I'm going to go do something else. Or even have negative ones like, hey, I'm moving these troops here because I want this region. If you give it to me, don't worry about it. If you don't give it to me, I'm going to take it. Or, hey, I see here that you're trying to do a trade deal with someone else. Don't. If you do a weapons deal with the Czech Republic, my troops are going to come in and cut and do something. You know, things like that. What I also would like, along the same vein, in the next option, would be more diplomatic options that actually have effects. So, like weapon license deals. So if I'm not happy, and I'm, you know, obviously we're not doing too good with the Czech Republic here, and Austria signs a weapon license deal with the Czech Republic saying, hey, we have these awesome tanks, we have these awesome aircraft. If you wanted to use them to defend yourself against, say, a larger Germany to your west that's kind of looking at you, cool. And as Germany be like, you can actually, and as a nation be like, hey, I want to keep an eye on my neighbors for, you know, and you get the notification, right? Like we do now. It'll say, hey, the Czech Republic and Austria are negotiating a weapons deal. I should be able to be like, hey, what the hell? What are you doing? I should also be able to request a tithe, or basically a person tax or a unit tax, on my colonies. I should be able to tell my colonies, or somewhere in the options, have a thing where I can say, hey, I want X amount of infantry units from you, X amount of armored units from you, X amount of aircraft from you per year, or even just X number of just people. Like, just give me people. I would love to be able to set up a tithe or something like that. And I'd also like to be able to do large agreements or with other nations. So like being able to sign a deal with Paris, Marseille, Milan, Slovenia against Austria, and actually have them do it. So say we actually signed a deal saying, hey, we're all going to go to war with Austria, and we're all going to send troops to a staging point. And then once we get to that staging point, we're also going to issue an ultimatum. The ultimatum will be X, Y, and Z. So if we go into battle zones again, hey, Germany gets battle zone Salzburg. Slovenia is going to get, let's not declare war, Graz. And there you go. And then the remaining areas, you have to demilitarize. You have to stop doing X, stop doing Y. Having just, more deals and arrangements that actually have something behind them. Right now, all the deals we have just kind of affect your relations with one another. They don't really do anything. And I would love that, being able to actually sign multilateral deals that actually do something. They actually trigger something. Kind of going back to the role-playing option. Another thing that I think would be a good idea, which would also save a lot of just overall work on the game, and in the short term, obviously, it would cause more work, but I think in the long term, it would just be easier for the game itself, and that's to just kind of generalize the stats on the units, say just make them from 1 to 100, and then be able to design your own units and give research, when it comes to this stuff, a proper thing. So now you don't have to research units. You can research kind of like in Superpower 2, screw 3, we're not even going to talk about 3, but in Superpower 2 you would research actual like armor. You would research guns for that armor. You would just research those things. As you research those, you just unlock the next level of infantry weapon, infantry armor, tank armor, armor personnel armor, artillery armor, artillery range, the type of artillery, rocket, self-propelled, towed, etc. And then be able to design our own units. And in the end, all we're doing is picking and choosing from a generic thing so that what we see is what we want. But in the back end, it's like, okay, this is artillery unit, level 3, with the following skills of 1 to 100. And that way, the designers over there at BattleGoat don't have to sit there and do all this research on all these units, have to do all these fixes and corrects, because everyone has that unit that they like. And certain people are like, hey, unit X and Y, what the hell? This one should be better, this one should be worse. This way, it's just generic, You can still call it the Leopard. And you can be like, hey, so here is the overall design for a Leopard tank. It has this set of numbers. So we'll start 2030. Everyone starts with 2s and 3s. So, certain tanks will be better, like the Leopard is faster than the Abrams. So on mobility and speed, it would be a 3, while the Abrams would be a 2, for example. They both have the same gun, so they would both be a 3. Things like that. Things that would just be a lot easier to put in the game. And you also could get that role playing of, I'm designing my own unit. I'm not stuck getting this martyr or this recon unit. Being able to design your own infantry, being like, I want this infantry unit to be specifically stealthy because of the next thing I want to talk about, which is being able to send units into another nation without declaring war, and you're able to move those units around that country for sabotage, for spying, for just clandestine operations in general. I would love to be able to do that. With that as well, another idea I would love to see is being able to assign, hold on, let's bring up the battle zone option again here. Being able to assign a general, an admiral, or an air marshal to a battle zone. After assigning a leader to a battle zone, being able to assign units to that general, air marshal, whatever, and having the units deploy to said battle zone instead of having me, click and drag. I would love to be able the ability to just send the units to a battle zone, tell them to be, hey, I want you to be aggressive. In other words, be more closer to the enemy border. I want you to be more defensive, so the units will kind of fortify themselves a little bit better. So a lot of armor and artillery will kind of sit back from the front. Infantry will be sitting in towns and villages and bridges and things like that. Well, the armor and things like that will sit, like artillery will automatically go and look at, okay, well, if this is this section of the map, where are the high points? Okay, as artillery, I will go to high points. Armor will go to more areas where they, it'll just kind of have like a little area where it'll be like, hey, I want to sit in areas that are wide open with what the skills are. So like here, for example, a lot of my armor will be sitting up here. Oh, I don't know where it is in this game. And that's line of sight. But yeah, so you can get like, your close combat. Whoops. No, here, see. It's been a while. I have to look at all the buttons there as to how to look at things. But being able to assign your units to a battle zone, and then being also able to, which kind of goes into my next thing, which is being able to issue orders, draw up battle plans. We'll put those kind of in two separate things. The first one is being able to issue general orders. Honestly, I think the hotspot system needs to be replaced. I don't think it works as well as it should. I understand the idea behind it. I've tried to use it, and I find the AI just for some reason sometimes does not like following it. Other times it follows it perfectly, but then it does its own thing in addition to other stuff, and it's like, it doesn't quite jive. I think there's too many things piled onto too many things at this point. It's an older thing that should just be gone. And I think we should have the ability, kind of like a Hearts of Iron 4, where we can assign general orders to units. Actually, no, we can't do that in Hearts of Iron 4, but being able to issue general orders. So, say we're looking at Austria here, for example, and I'm moving units into said battle zone in Munich here, in München. What is this battle zone? München, okay. So I can tell the units in this area, hey, I don't want you to attack Austria. I want you to be defensive, but Air Force, like my entire Air Force, being able to go into my actual ministry, Defense Ministry tab, and tell my Air Force, hey, I want you to produce airstrikes on Austria, and I want you to be able to hit bridges, manufacturing sites for anything related to military goods. So, hit, any, ore facilities, hit actual land production, air production, missile or naval production. Be able to actually, tell it, hey, I want you to do airstrikes so that I don't have to click an airplane, tell it to fly over and hit a missile against X building. I can actually just say, hey, Minister of the Air Force, Air Marshal Steve, do airstrikes on Austria. And what it'll do is it will load up my aircraft with the missiles it needs. We'll look at the ranges and just be like, okay, so if I fly a Euro Typhoon roughly to about here and fire a missile at this location here, I'll do damage to the hydro and boom, knock their hydro out for a little while. Damage this bridge here in Innsbruck, etc., etc. Be able to actually issue those orders, then be able to issue general orders associated with Hearts of Iron 4 where I can be like, hey, I want my units to only advance to this line. So, for example, we can't draw lines, but we can measure, right? So we can actually say, hey, I want you to advance only 64 kilometers or 4 hexes into this region. Also be able to tell, say, the world, if I'm going to war, hey, I'm only going after... Oh, I need the battle zone button again. I'm only going after the Salzburg battle zone. Maybe give us the ability to have little hotspot wars, where I can declare a limited war against Austria, where I can cross the border, take some territory, and they'll move troops, we'll have a little fight, and then have a negotiation. Where it'll either get worse or better, where we can actually kind of have little tiny hotspots, little border conflicts. So I not even declare war. I just move some of these troops over the border. Boom, I'm moving them there. They cross the border. Instead of having a red zone or a yellow zone, have it both. Have it hatched pattern or something. And it'll show that this area is disputed. So, I move my troops over. I'm now controlling this spot. And Austria's like, hey, what the hell? And then we go into negotiation. Be like, hey, okay, so as Germany, I want the following territory. I want all of Innsbruck. And Austria's like, well, no. You're not going to give you all... here it is right here. So defensive terrain, see? Defensive terrain, garrison locations, low visibility areas, and obviously high ground. So use these as an idea to deploy when you deploy troops to a battle zone. I guys. So I can look and be like, okay, well, hold on. I really like the coal down here. So yeah, I move my units over here. But in actuality, I want this coal because I'm really short on coal. And there's a little bit of iron over here. So I can look at Austria and be like, here's the deal. Give me the following areas. And then I'd be able to click and drag and be like, hey, I want this and I want this. That's all I want from you. You know what? You can have this spot that's all disputed up here back, but I want this down here. And then have the AI obviously calculate going, okay, well, hold on. My military size is this size. Their military size is this size. If we were to go into all-out war, would we be backed by anybody else? No? Okay. We're probably going to get our butt kicked. And then have the war about that specific goal. As Germany be like, hey, we're declaring a limited war. We just want this area here. Highlight those boxes. Go to war. And then have it as a peace option. Right from the beginning. Germany's like, hey, we just want this. We are willing to advance all the way to your capital. But that's all I want to take. Or declare total war, right? Where you just, try to take a country and annex it or colonize it or whatever. And then also being able to diplo-annex. I mean, I would love to be able to diplo-annex another country using both nefarious and non-nefarious reasons. Well, I'm looking at you, Anschluss. Be able to send in special forces and cause civil unrest. Cause a government to actually collapse. And then have my peacekeeping German forces declare a peacekeeping operation. So be able to right-click, and instead of saying declare war, declare peacekeeping operation, declaring limited war. When you go to limited war, you can click the regions that you want ahead of time. And there you go. And that's all you get. I'm declaring a peacekeeping operation. Now, that only is an option if something's happening. Well, I sent in my special forces. I've been I've been causing mayhem and destruction in Austria. The government has fallen. Chaos reigns. People are yelling in the streets that they want help. Well, I'm going to send my peacekeeping forces in to Austria. And then slowly have the ability to get little event pop-ups. And those event pop-ups bring Austria into alignment with your country to a possible annexation. And do it by battle zone. So, for example, have... Whoops, wrong button. It'll show you, hey, in... Here we go. In Battle Zone Salzburg, they're willing to vote for annexation. So you can even annex nations one battle zone at a time, diplomatically, because you have your peacekeepers in there, because the country's fallen. I would love to have that little clandestine thing. But yeah, so that's just a few options. I think there's more than 10 there. Of things I would like to see in 2030. Obviously, like I said, not all of these are going to happen. Some of them, I don't even know if they're even possible with the current engine. But, I do think it'll be interesting to see some of these can be put in. Like I said, declaring limited wars would be nice. So you don't have to, the AI just doesn't fight until the last man. Being able to topple governments, we'll say peacefully, wink wink, that is judge, clandestinely, and then being able to declare a peacekeeping force to go in, that will be cool. And then slowly, nefariously coerce the locals to vote for annexation. I'm looking at you, Crimea. This game has lots of potential. And, I mean, Battlegoat is saying, hey, can we have some ideas, things that we would like to see, any of the community would love to see brought into the game? Well, to be honest, their minds and eyes are open, and they've already been doing some work on it. So I'm pretty excited to see where this game goes with all its potential. With that in mind, thanks for watching. Really appreciate you. You could have been watching anything, but you watched this. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Hopefully the F12 button works. I got a 50-50 chance of it either working or not working when I hit F12 to actually stop my recordings and start my recordings. But hey, let's see what happens. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.